So today we are starting with Stitch or MongoDB RAM. This is a service provided by MongoDB to reduce our backend complexity. So this is a serverless service. So we can use this where we don't have to write the server infrastructure. Stitch will manage the server side for us and we can just focus on the application logic. And this has a lot of other features as well. So this is a very effective way to build the applications. You can access this inside of the MongoDB Atlas. In this app services, we can create this application and we have this app ID which we will use in our product database code. So we create this and then inside of this command prompt we use npm install and then we install this MongoDB Stitch browser SDK. And then inside of our code we have app.js file. Here we import Stitch from MongoDB Stitch browser SDK. Here we create a constructor where we give this Stitch dot initialize default app client and we give the app ID that we created. So this will connect Stitch to our app.js file. It's the main file. So now we can use this products.js file. Here we also import this. So here we can fetch data. While using Stitch, we can fetch the data. Here we give the default app client here in a variable and then get service client. Here we pass the name of the service in remote mongo client dot factory, and then we provide a database and collection, and then dot find as array, and then the product. So we create a new constant transform products. We give the products inside of this. Also now ID and price and the decimal 128 field, these were in MongoDB, so we cannot use that here. So we have to convert these to string. Then the return product, and otherwise we get the error. This dot set state, this is the React code. But first, this will not display the products. First, we have to set the authentication. Since this is a application side feature, so we want some authentication. So go to app users. Here we have multiple authentication providers. First, we use this allow users to log in anonymously. If we enable this, and then here we have to import anonymous credential so users can log in anonymously into the application. And then here we pass this client.auth login with credential, and here we give new anonymous credential. Also, we have to provide the roles also. So since any user can log in anonymously, we we don't want to give complete roles, so we just give this read only. We select this inside the database and collection here. And then after we set the is auth to false also, so that we can display the application. We have the products. Now we can use Stitch to use other CRUD operations also, and we don't have to run the server side from the command prompt. We can just use Stitch here and use the application side. So then in products, then we have this to delete the data, delete the product. This is product delete handler. We similarly we pass the default app client stitch, and then the database collection, and then we use delete one, and then we pass the ID as object ID or product ID, the object or the ID of the product, and then in result we get the result, and then this dot fetch data. So fetch the data after deleting, and then otherwise we have this catch error. Similarly, to update also, we have this edit product. We create a new file here, and inside this component did mount. Similarly, we give the stitch.default app client, and here we create, here we give the database collection, and then we use find to match the parameters of ID. We get that particular ID, and then here we convert the ID and price to string since we are giving it again. And then in this set state, we use this product dot name dot price image and description to update all four of these. Otherwise, we catch error. Similarly, to get a single product, also we create a new product.js file, and we get a single product dot find. Inside this, we give the ID and match parameter, and then similarly catch error. So this is how we perform the basic CRUD operations. So we get single product, edit and delete. So since we are using anonymous credentials, now we want to give our own credentials, email ID and password to authenticate the users. First of all, inside of the Stitch application, we go to app users, and in authentication providers, we enable this email and password, and then update this. And inside of this, import this user password credential. So here we have this user password credential. We give a new constant and email and password. We give this constant email password client, and here we in get provider client we pass this user password for provider client. So this is how we can register with email and password. And then in this state we set equal to true. So we write this to authenticate the user with email and password. So while signing up and logging in, we create a new file to confirm the account. We pass this data, we create the token, and then here also we pass the same line of code, user password authenticate provider client to confirm a user. So this is how we get this, and sign up with providing email and password. So while signing up, this will save the email and password, and then we can use that in logging in. Now inside of this, Under this we have these other features. So here we can create a function. We give this name, and here we can write, for example, to display console log. We give this, and then we can use this function. We can get this function inside from this app.js file. So we use this call function to call that function, and then we pass something. So we can see this inside of this logs when this function runs. So this is the hello function. So we can also use Stitch or MongoDB RAM for these other functions. We can pass any function here. We can do operations from inside of this. Also, we can use these triggers to generate a trigger. For example, these have different types. Database trigger. We give this name, and then here we can set the trigger against a collection or entire database. And then we give operation type, what operation we want to set the trigger to. Insert, update, delete, and replace. So we set this to insert. So whenever a document is inserted, this will generate this trigger, and then we pass full document, and then we give the function name of the function that we created, hello. So this function will be passed whenever there is a new insertion. So this is how we can use Stitch for different applications. Now, now to use MongoDB with Spring Boot, we create a new project. So we will also learn basic CRUD operations and other MongoDB operations that we can do inside of this Spring Boot application. So we create the new Spring Boot project here. And then here we create this packaging for collection. So here we have a person with address and a photo. And then in controller, create repository and we create a service. So first for the database collection, give this person ID and we give these details: person ID, first name, last name, age, hobbies, and address. Hobbies and address is a list, and then we use this document to give create the collection person in the database. So we use this annotation here. We also use this data and builder annotations to set the boilerplate for constructors and other complex objects. So we can just use these annotations from Lombok library. This is what we imported, and then create this address, pass address 1, address 2, and city strings, and then for them we create the repository. So we create person repository which extends Mongo repository. So here we are using the MongoDB services inside of this. We pass the person, which is a string, and then we create this service and service interface, and then this class where we can use this service annotation which implements person service, and here we use this auto wide annotation to use the repository inside of this person repository. And then we have this person controller for mapping. Here, first we use the auto add to get the person service here, and for this is the main endpoint person with request mapping investment order only. And then first to save a person in the database, we create this post mapping here, and then public string save, and then request body person, which returns person service dot save. So then we create this in the service interface string save, give this name save, and then pass the person, and then we implement this inside of this service implementation class. So we have saving a person which returns from the repository, Mongo repository we use, and you can save person and get person ID. And then we can fetch data. We can have multiple conditions also. For example, we want to fetch the data of person which starting with first name. So we use then get mapping, and we pass the request parameter name, string name, which returns this get person start with, and we pass the name in this. So then we can create this inside of the service. So we will have a list of persons. Many people can have the same first name. So get person start with, we pass the string that name. And then this is not by default in the repository. So here also we want to create this. We will have to create list of person which find by first name starts with. And this is what we will use while implementing here. So we have this find by first name starts with. Return this in person repository directory, and then list of persons, string name. So this is how we can use this. Also, before we create this using Swagger, use this setup to create a bean of this to create this as an object. Use this Swagger. This can be used for API documentation. So this is a very helpful tool where we can see the all the APIs that we're creating in this person controller from there directly. So we had the localhost 8080 report and we use the Swagger UI. So here we will have all of these and we create. So we created the post saving method. So here we can save a person from here directly and save in the database. Then this is the get method. So we pass the name here to get the person's first name. And then similarly for deletion, here we use this delete mapping. Here we have left to pass the ID to delete path variable ID. So now we have to create this delete method inside the service. We have this delete and pass string ID. The implementation inside of this delete by ID and pass the ID here. So this is you can delete. Now to get a person by the age, we'll create a query annotation inside of the repository. First we have this get mapping and age. So get by person age, we request the parameters of minimum and maximum age. So we pass this integers, minimum and maximum age, and we return this get the person age where we have min and max age. So we create this inside of our list here, get by person age, min and max, we pass this, and then in person repository we create this find person by age, we give min and max, and here we write the query by using this query annotation. So this is the annotation which we have in the MongoDB inside of the Spring Boot that you can use. So we pass the value age greater than the minimum, which is 0 to pass, and then 1 for the maximum, less than. So then after creating this query, we use this here. We implement the service here, min and maximum age, and then use this find person by age between then min and max age. So this is how you can use a query annotation here. And now we can use Mongo template to search a person by giving certain fields. So inside of person controller, we give this search API. So we pass the request parameter every name, min, max, age, city, and then we want to use the page nation here. So we have integer page and the size of the page, and use this pageable and page request to proof and page and size we pass here, and then we return this search which we create in person service, a string min, maximum age, city, and the pageable. Then to implement, use this query to create a new query with pageable. And then here we pass certain criteria with this list of criteria, which is create the new array list. And then we have this criteria if name is not null or it is not empty. And then we use criteria dot add to create a new criteria. We have this criteria. Then we pass dot where first name dot regex. We pass the name. Then for min and max age, if they are not null, then we add the criteria. The age is greater than equal to min age and less than equal to max age. Give the key as age and the key as first name. Then in address dot city, city is not null and is not empty. We pass this address dot city as key and this is equal to city. And then we combine this criteria. If the criteria are not empty, we use this add criteria, create a new criteria where we and operator combine this to an array, and then use this page nation. And then here we use Mongo template, then pass the person class with this query, and then pageable, and then we supply this to Mongo template.count. So here we can see use this query and skip 0 and pass the person class. So we create this search uh, here. Here we can see that we created this delete, and here we have this min and max age, and then here to search person, and we have to give all the parameters that we created. It's city, min and max age, name, and base size is 5 by default. So this will give all the persons inside of an age range belonging to a particular city with the same first name. We can do this however we want to create other in other ways also. Now to use aggregation functions from MongoDB inside of the Spring Boot. For example, we want to see the oldest person in a particular city. So we use the get mapping oldest person. We pass the list, the document. So we have this method. Now we create this in service. Get oldest person in the city. There is a list of document which we have document saved. So here we create this field for addresses. Now to implement the aggregation, we get oldest person by city. Here we do the aggregation stages. So we have this unwind operation for to unwind. So since we want the cities which is inside the addresses dot city, so we will have to flatten out the documents. So we can use unwind to get the individuals. So we use aggregation dot unwind on addresses, and then we use the sort operation aggregation dot sort dot direction in descending by age. Now we got the oldest. Now we will use the group operation aggregation dot group, and then we use addresses dot city to group them by city. Then use this dot first aggregation dot root to get the oldest, which will have the highest age, will be the root, and then as oldest person we give, and then after this we will define aggregation, the new aggregation, and we pass all the operations that we had, and after that again we use Mongo template on list documents in person. So we use Mongo template dot aggregate, pass aggregation on person class, and then on document class for the documents, and then get mapped result, get the results. So this is what we created. So after saving the person's here, we can use this also. Now to create another aggregation by also using projection this time. For example, we want the population of a particular city. So inside person controller, we create a new API, population by city. This is also a list of documents. And then in service interface, we create list documents. And then here we implement this first of all with unwind addresses, then use group by in addresses dot city, and then use dot count to count as we give this name. So give the count of particular cities, and then use sorting operation in descending order at the highest population of for a city. And then we use this projection operation and expression, but we want to display. ID as city and expression of count as count. Then we exclude the ID underscore ID. And we define the aggregation. Then in Mongo template, we pass this aggregation. Person.class, document.class, and get map result. Then we have this. And now we can create another, we can create another package here, another file here for photos. We can store photos inside of this also, and we will see how to download those photos also. And we will store them in binary format. So here we create the collection, new collection photo, ultimate key, which has ID, title, and photo. Then we create photo repository, and then photo control. The auto wired with photo service. First, to add a photo, get post mapping, string, then request parameter image. It's a multi-part file. Get this string, create this new ID, add photo, and get the original file name, which is on the image. Then return ID. We create this ID, add photo, pass this multi-part file. And then here, add photo, this new photo, set title, and set photo. We pass this as a binary file. And then to save the photo. And then to get the photo and download it, we create a new response entity. We pass resource to download photo. We get the path variable and ID. We photo by ID. And pass this here in this response entity in this comment. We create that and implementation we get. We can see this from Postman and the local host. And pass the body here. You can give the key and image. Then here we can select and here we can select the image file, which will then be displayed here. And by using this, you can download the photo also by providing the ID which you will get while adding the photo in Postman. So this is how we can perform various operations, thread operations, and aggregation from MongoDB in with Spring Boot.